Hey guys, this is Jonas making video games with you. I already edited 2 videos today, and for the rest of the day I just feel like doing some sketching and trying to get a couple of ideas for our strategy game Ovus Nova, and I want to bounce some ideas back and forth with you. And the main thing I want to think about is cool things we can do with the level design, because I want to bring a lot of variety into the game. Just with the level design, I don't want to add thousands of features, so the goal is not to invent feature after feature after feature, but the goal is to invent a couple of features that we can use in very different ways, and we can create a lot of variety this way. So just keep that in mind when coming up with ideas. We're looking for ideas that you can do a lot of different stuff with and that you can combine in a lot of different ways. And you already gave me a couple of cool ideas, so my arm's getting tired, so better get started now. And also look at that beautiful weather. Oh my god. Oh my god. And why is my voice so weird? That's probably because I'm still sick. Hope that's gonna get better sometime soon. Okay, here we go. Yeah, so we're looking for features that can be used in a lot of different ways, and I think we have a couple of good ones here. So for example here, act-free zones. I already have a lot of different use cases how you could use this feature to create interesting level design, and that's basically perfect. That's exactly what we want. We just want one simple feature that we can use in many different ways, which is definitely possible for act-free zones, as you can see. I think there are a lot of interesting things you can do with it. For example, here blocking the edges, so you need to hatch all of your eggs here in the center directly next to the enemy spawner, or you have to hatch all of the eggs here at the corner, or you can't hatch them in the center. And then something one of my friends suggested is simply walls, and I think this is probably a really smart thing to implement, because there are a lot of things you can do with walls. That's why so many games have walls. It allows you to shape and model your level so much. So basically walls would just block your own creatures. Maybe they would bounce off it, maybe they would just be destroyed if they hit a wall. Probably they would bounce off walls, and then enemies obviously would have to walk around these walls. So the problem with adding that into the game is that I would have to add pathfinding, and pathfinding is a little bit of a complicated matter. It's not all that fun to implement. It's quite a bit of work to get it running properly. I mean it's definitely possible, it's just a little annoying, so that's something to keep in mind. But there are so many things you can do with walls that it's probably worth the effort. For example, just splitting the level in 2 parts, doing something like this, so you have to go all the way around, and enemies also have to go all the way around. Just having some blockers here in the centers, or maybe you can't shoot directly to the enemies, or maybe you can have your little egg farm here in a safe zone and try to keep the enemies outside. Just stuff like that. Then more features. You suggested so speed areas are basically an area in the level that speeds up everything that is in that area. Your eggs, your creatures, your enemies, everything gets sped up. I think it's a cool idea, but I couldn't find that many use cases for it just by thinking about it. The same goes for slow-mo areas, and the same goes for gravity fields. One of you suggested that. As you can hear, I'm losing my voice because I'm a little ill. I'm sorry about that. We'll manage to get through this video quite fine, I think. Okay, so that was your suggestions. A lot of good ones. Here are some of my own thoughts. What about if we add some resource crystals? And basically how they work is they are just placed somewhere in the level, and you can destroy them with your creatures. If you manage to destroy them, you get additional resources you can use on your abilities. And I also have a lot of ideas on how they could be used. For example, they could be behind the enemies here in the middle to block projectiles, in the center, in a corner. There are a lot of things you can do with this, I think. And then I also have the idea for just crystals, so they don't give you resources, but they stop you from spawning eggs there, and they also stop projectiles. So if you make a creature explode here, your projectiles damage the crystals instead of the enemies. You could surround a spawner with crystals, you could just scatter them around the room. There are a lot of different things you could do with it. Not as interesting as resource crystals, but still useful. And then also very interesting are here the explosion crystals. When you destroy them, they explode and they destroy everything in a certain radius, including your own units and also including enemy units. So you have to be very careful not to damage them, otherwise it might destroy a couple of your units, and then you can also try to strategically destroy the correct crystals to damage enemies. There are also a lot of ways you could use them. For example, directly next to a resource crystal, that would be really mean, so you have to hit exactly that one and not that one. And yeah, stuff like this would be really cool, or placing them directly behind your own units would also be really mean. There's a lot of cool stuff you can do with them. So I think I definitely want to have them in the game. If you instantly have a lot of different ideas what you can do with it, that's definitely a good sign. And yeah, for some ideas you just feel like, what do I do with this? And for some ideas you're just like, oh, I can do this with that. That's one of those ideas, so that's really good. Then the same as with the egg-free zone, we can also do a detonation-free zone. That would be pretty interesting as well. So while your creatures are in those zones, you cannot make them explode. So projectiles can fly in there, you can shoot projectiles into that zone, but you cannot detonate the creatures when they are in the zone. And once again, there are a lot of different things you can do with that. Maybe you have to hatch your eggs here on the outside, and then you have to wait until they fly into the inside and detonate them there. Once again, lots of cool stuff. And then also destructible walls. So if we have walls anyway, we can also make destructible walls. So they work like walls, but you can destroy them. If you shoot them often enough, they get destroyed. And that once again probably just allows you to do a lot of different stuff. Really cool. Whew. Okay, let's get to the enemies, because obviously those are important as well. First of all, basic enemies. I have already quite a couple of them, but I think I might need more. And I can sort them by HP and speed. So for the basic enemies that don't do anything special, I think those are the two most important variables that make them different. I don't know how many of those I want to make. And then there are also a couple of little gimmicks I could add to those if they are too boring. For example, they could duplicate themselves, they could heal themselves, they can revive themselves. Okay, game over. I cannot keep talking. I'm losing my voice, unfortunately. I guess stuff like this happens as well, so I'm just gonna show you the rest of the creatures, and they have a little description next to them. So if you're interested, you can read it yourself, and then I hope we can do another video about this beautiful area right here, which will be a really cool graph.